morning, everybody. Master Sukuri coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. Episode number 82. Guys, if I told you how amazing I feel starting off 2025, I don't think you'd believe me. So many great things are happening, and I would say that the most important thing is that finally, at my age, I'm 53, I finally cleared anything that is not good to my life, not good to how I do things. I organized myself during COVID, during Corona. Everybody was trying so many different things. You can all remember I was doing Patreon, I was doing YouTube, I was doing Instagram, I was doing, just trying to figure out a way to maintain my life as a capoeira master. And mostly because this is all I do. This is how I support my family and whatnot. What I realized and what I want to share with you guys today is I'm so focused on what I want to do that sometimes I feel it's way overboard, but actually it's simple and just really easy to organize. I was talking to my son, Dede, and we were joking, and he was agreeing with me, and he goes like, Dad, sometimes you are so professional and so organized in what you do that it makes it look like you don't do anything. And that really hit me right in the heart, and it really made me feel amazing. And I can't say how happy I am that my son recognized that and that he understands that I'm working so hard to do what I do, and that I'm passionately dedicated to everything that I do. So let's jump right into it today, and I want to tell you guys kind of what's going on, not so much as what's going on, but what's to come. And this is going to be part of an amazing year, especially if you're on Patreon. We're going to have some amazing fun, and some amazing things are going to be coming out. I'd like to give a big shout out to everybody on my Patreon. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, anything to help the channel move. And this is going to be a format that I need to start working on, and you'll understand why. For Patreon people, you will have early access if you're at a certain tier. And if you're not at the other tier, you're just going to have to wait a little bit, because I need to be able to value and get my Patreon going, because that's the one thing that I found to be the most fulfilling. The Patreon page, for me, is just something that's really inspirational and a lot of love on my side, and it's something that I really like to do. And it forces me, because I have to do my own job, my own work, everything. So I'm constantly trying to figure out how to motivate myself, how to create, what do people want, and not waste the time and get something in return. Recently, I checked Patreon, and we are the #1 capoeira page. I'm not saying that puts the most out or anything. I'm saying the one that gets the most. So we're at about $1,000 a month on my Patreon, and that really means a lot to me. So I really hope that everybody can take pride in being part of this Mestre Vibes Patreon community. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say we're going to be doing this in a lot more professional way. My son did it for over the last year, has been a professional YouTube content creator. He was doing Ben 10 and a couple other little things. And although he said it's not something like, he said, I think the top 5% make a lot of money. The 5% after that have different ways of making money, but generally 90% of YouTubers don't make any money whatsoever. I think for us, our goal is to try to get Patreon to grow. That's my first goal. The second goal is, maybe we can get YouTube growing, but you're going to hear about more of the different projects that are coming up and how you can be a part of it in a fantastic way. So my son was doing YouTube. He had monetized his page like within 2 months. It was about like an American cartoon called Ben 10. And he's continued to do that, and he's already starting to work on his next one. So one of the big things that I decided this year is to take it to the next level. And I hired my son, Dede, to come and work for me semi-full time to help me grow not only my social media network, but also the content that I'm putting out. And that includes the new Gaijin Sake. Guys, the Gaijin Sake is going to be amazing. I'm going to be making travel videos. We're going to be having so much fun doing what we do best as a mestre living here in Japan. Who knows where it'll start? Who knows where it'll end? But also, I will be doing a lot of contemporary commentary on Japanese culture in Gaijin Sake, not to mention all the different things that I love to do for you guys already. So that's a lot of things coming up. And if you want to support that, Patreon people, like as I always say, if you want to raise your tier from 10 to 25, 25 to 50, it all helps. I'm trying to get to $2,000 a month so that I can cover all the costs of basically running a full-time content creation network with Capoeira and with the Gaijin Sake, which the Gaijin Sake is going to be fantastic. I'm really excited. I'll be taking videos of Japan to share with all of you. So many great things happening that sometimes I just, wow, I got to take a second here. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to jump in to this week's podcast. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing the Patreon podcast straight through. Then I'm going to be doing the podcast for the YouTube channel at 10-minute cuts. So sometimes it might just unflow for a half second, but I'm going to do my best as it's still a work in progress and I'm still trying to get things done. And the topic for today is living a fulfilled capoeira life as a professional Capoeira Mestre. So this is going to be about me and how I reflect on myself. I know there are people out there who are incredibly professional and doing a great job teaching capoeira, but I'm going to be talking more about the Brazilian dream of only living from capoeira. And I know a lot of non-Brazilians too are now thinking, wow, that would be amazing if I could live just from capoeira. And I'm going to share a couple of things on how I do it so that maybe it helps everybody else, or if you're doing something else, it'll help you reflect. And if anything, I hope it just inspires you to see that what I do is possible in any aspect of the non-tangible arts, like I like to say, like yoga or jiu-jitsu or whatever. So let's jump right into it. Episode 82, part 1, for people on YouTube and for everywhere else, and episode 82, part 1 for the people here on Patreon. So guys, I need to get this going. What does it mean to live a fulfilled capoeira life as a professional capoeira mestre? Guys, there's so many things that are involved, and I'm going to go through these today, and I hope you guys really get a kick out of this and enjoy. First, one of the things that I see most importantly is being able to, and the most important is to be a professional capoeira full-time teacher, is to live from your capoeira income, okay? Being able to earn enough to pay for your life for what you consider successful stability. For example, each person will have different things, right? Like I don't need a car here in Tokyo, so I don't need to buy a car, but I do have to pay different rents, the academia, all the different things that go into running my capoeira school, plus a family, savings, planning for retirement, and all those things. So being able to earn from your capoeira income is something that really allows you to focus on what you do, for me as an artist and capoeira mestre, and to be able to contribute to my capoeira community. When I say my capoeira community, it's something that I'll get into more later, and that I hope you guys can really enjoy and understand, and hope it works better for you guys too. So one example would be, for me, it's about running a successful academia with a steady number of students attending class. This is something that comes up a lot, and people ask me, how do I keep students? I remember Mestre Acordeon visiting in 2011, and he mentioned that he had done like a survey, and he had asked people, and there was like a survey in the martial arts world, and it said that the average long-term student stays for 3 years. And we were like, wow, that kind of makes sense, because most people will go to karate, maybe get their black belt, and then above that, they kind of fizzle out. People come and go. But how to maintain and keep those students long-term? I think it's two things: the love and the passion of a student, but also what's really important, and I felt something that works for me, is that I'm focused on creating a professional academia. Just because you have an academia doesn't mean you're doing it professional. Just because you own a restaurant doesn't mean you're doing it professional. For me, having that my students, that the community understand that I'm here doing the best I can. And here's the magic part that I think affects a lot of people: having a stable class schedule. If you don't have an academia, that's fine. But for example, on Fridays, if I was teaching in Shibuya, or if I was teaching Sundays in Shinjuku and Wednesdays in Hachioji or whatever, it's because people know that I'm there. Especially for people who want to be long-term, they want to know if they're going to start investing their time, energy, and passion into something, then they really need to know that it's going to be there. The biggest disappointment, sadness, melancholy I've seen in capoeira is a lot of times teachers will not show up, they'll cancel classes, they're late. And this is something that's incredibly unprofessional. And we always, and I hate it when people say, oh, it's Brazilian time. Or when I was young, people would say, oh, it's Mexican time, mañana. And it's something that I really despise and hate. And that's why I always do my best to be on time and I don't think a student could say, oh, Master, you were late, or oh, Master, you missed the class, or something last minute. I think I've canceled classes one time or two times over the last 10 years because of being sick. There was I have the flu, so I had to cancel. That happened last month, and that was kind of a shock because it left me kind of stressed out, because I go, wow, my students can't come. They pay for the academia to be open. There's another important point to go into. And the other big one for the first example of living from your income is you need to learn how to supplement your income. Whether, I don't know, through social media, I'm just starting to really understand that. My son knows that a lot better. And he's going to be helping me with that, how to get social media. I mean, I guess for us, the biggest thing would be trying to get enough people to look at our Gaijin Sake podcast on YouTube and Mestre Vibes podcast and seeing if that grows. I honestly think that the Japanese sake is going to be a lot more popular because there's a wider audience and it's a Travel Japan theme. So there's going to be a lot of stuff on there, and that's going to also grow. Don't forget to subscribe over there. I'm going to be launching all this stuff very soon, and you'll have access to all of it. Being on time and having a regular schedule. Secondly, being able to produce events. When you're a capoeira master, you're kind of like an events producer. And I've talked about this, like what does it mean to be an events producer? For example, I don't produce an event unless I know I already have the money to cover the event, which took a long time to develop that kind of resource so that I can make events and produce them myself. For example, if I'm going to bring a Mestre Boagente, Mestre Accordion, any of the masters that are in my network, then I know I already have the money in the bank to cover everything. And that leads to a really good event and no stress about making this event, especially because you're investing, you're not going to waste any time, energy, or stress about that. So supplementing with workshops and events is a really big for me. Music is a big thing. So doing a lot of like events. This Saturday, don't forget, we have the February 1st, Ashe de Oro, Marcos de Lopez, myself, Mestre Linguiça, contra Mestre Jacare will be playing some music. I'm turning over the reins generationally to my younger students to do the capoeira show, and that will be amazing. That's this Saturday, February 1st. The other example, what you could do, what I do, is learning how to supplement your income through merchandise sales, right? Such as, good quality uniforms and good quality birimbas and panderos. It's rare where I go somewhere and the teacher has a stock, right? I have like 45 birimbas and birimbas that are ready to go to sell. I invest it. No, I don't sell them every day. People say, well, then don't order if you're not selling right away. Guys, if you own a restaurant and you don't have food on stock, you cannot sell. If you own a stationery store, if you don't have stationery, you can't sell. You've got to stock. It doesn't mean too much, too crazy, but you have to, be part of this and how to do things. And you have to have stock. You're like birimbas and panderos and really good quality. I order Buscalongi panderos from now on, and they're just amazing. The quality is really high. Big shout out to Mestre Buscalongi in São Paulo. Birimbas, I order from a guy. Some of them are okay, some of them are not, but that's part of the gamble. From now on, I'm only going to order from Mestre Buscalongi, or unless Mestre Boa Gente gets them from me in Bahia. So getting all those things done is a big process and an investment. But this is the first part of living from your income. Of course, there's other ways, but these are the ones I wanted to talk about in this first part of this podcast. Guys, thanks for listening. Mestre Vibes, Mestre Sukuri, part 1. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. I still have 14 more talking points, and those are going to be in the next few episodes. Like, I'm trying to keep these podcasts to about 10 minutes each, and the reason is because people are busy, and I just want to be able to give them in little spurts. So I also know that my son wants me to do 3 podcasts a week, so I have to break them down for all of you guys. Patreon, again, you guys get everything first. Depending on your tier support, you'll get early access, and I'll be adding some behind the scenes this week about this podcast and Gaijin Sake. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. And episode 82, part 1, Mestre Vibes. Mestre Sukuri coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Lots of love, lots of peace, lots of ashe. Mestre Sukuri, Tokyo, Japan.